Hey, on your mark.
We're now set.
There are certain actors that I might admire on the screen, but they don't attract me in terms of saying, but I really want to work with this person. I need a kind of eccentricity or something that's just off, more typical of a character actor than a leading man, let's say, and yet still has a leading man presence and charisma.
Viggo was very deliberate and thoughtful before he chose to do this movie. I met with David a number of times. He really wanted to understand the script. He wanted to understand the ending and the transformation. And it was really about him kind of falling in love with this character before he decided to do it. And he's really kind of blanketed himself with the reality of what Tom's life and what Joey's life would be like.
In terms of the way he approaches acting, I've never met, nor has Carol Spear, my production designer, met an actor who bought things for the set, was doing set decorating.
He would go away for the weekend and he'd visit his parents or whatever, and he'd come back with little trinkets. I've been thinking about this, and I thought Tom would have this, and he brought the fishing money. And it lived right by the cash register in the diner.
On my trips there, I would get things that I knew were particular to U.S. culture, U.S. society. A lot of the symbols that we accept as normal that have to do with guns and extreme elements of hunting are very aggressive. It was interesting just finding these things in different stores and like that and looking at them. Whether Carol would use them or not, it didn't really matter. I would have them in my dressing room.
The set that Carol built, it was a beautiful job of art direction and construction and sort of movie magic. You get jaded, but you forget the magic of cinema, that you can actually build something. Viggo walked down the street in Millbrook, picked some garbage up at the door of his diner. We cut inside the diner. He walks in and has a dialogue scene. You can see the shops and the people and the cars outside, but the interior is all built here. It's the simplest thing I do, is to cut from an exterior in Millbrook to an interior on the stage here.
You shoot, then he's down on the floor. So you lean out like, you don't lean out, but your gun goes out like that. All right. And then you open yourself to the camera.
Okay. This was my first squibbed, dramatic, fly-through glass, cool death.
Brass plate, special rubber, small little explosive called a squib. Stick that in there. And these condoms full of blood. You put that over top of the explosive. And you take this whole thing. This goes under the shirt. Fires off, the little explosion goes, you get a hole, blood comes pouring out.
Cut.
Pretty good.
Cut. Want to put the glass in?
Yes.
At first, they were going to have a double that they had lined up, and as I was just looking the way that they were setting the shot up, I mean, it's a better shot if you actually see me go through the glass and I'd have to cut around it. So I offered up my body. And also, I mean, how many times in life do you get to fly through a pane of glass?
Speak. Set. Set. Action.
Silicone. Looks like real glass, except it's rubber.
And what are you going to use it for?
Throwing it at the actor.
Action. When you consider the lives that most people in the world live, they're visited by violence very often. For us, it's sort of a traumatic event that we don't necessarily expect to find in our lives. We're very favored to be able to live that way, but the truth is that violence as a way of life is pretty common on Earth right now. So artistically, you feel it's something you have to come to terms with and hope that you'll deal with it in your creative life and not have to deal with it in your actual day-to-day life. If there's a way that you could really do a cross-the-face smash with it and have it break and get a small amount of coffee to go flying, maybe this is something that has to be done digitally.
And speed.
Action! Cut.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm great.
I think that violence is an unfortunate but very real and unavoidable part of human existence. You can't really say that it's never justified. You can say that it's never very attractive, though.
It's not glamorized or, you know, slow motion and blood flying through the air.
When you brought your gun today, say blam. Seriously. So okay, say blam. And do a bit of a jerk.
Did that, but I didn't know how to do it for your sound.
Yeah. Because we can't see it, so you can get away with that. It was about real brutality, the kind of violence that you would actually see in a street fight, for example, a kind of ungainly and not too graceful and very bloody.
Action!
Yes, her! Fuck it! Do her! I lost my knife. Go ahead, stab me. Okay. Yeah! Ah! Blam!
Have I had a rough day today?
Yeah.
What happened to me today? I got shot, and my jaw flew off, and it hung down my neck. It was gruesome. They stick it on my face for about 3 hours.
For that particular scene, I even made like a little rubber tongue for him so he can just like, you know, shoot it out.
And then I was lying in a pool of blood.
Action. The tongue out more. Okay, and then go still. Okay, we can cut.
I don't know why he deserved that.
Part of what the movie is how the violence and the extreme violence that takes place in this town that's not used to something like that affects everybody.
When Tom kills the two guys coming to the diner, they're going to kill everybody there. No question that he's justified in his self-defense, but I also think there's no question that even without the character of Joey lurking within him, there's a huge cost to whoever does these things. You know, what happens to you when you do that, and what happens to the people around you when you're sort of an ordinary American household?
You know, you see Tom Stahl having this situation thrust upon him in which he reacts instinctively, so violence ensues, but he's congratulated for committing these acts of violence. In fact, he becomes, you know, a small-town hero.
I was scared. Those men, they were gonna kill us. There was no doubt. You could see it in their eyes. And then Tom saved us. Tom's a hero.
The fact that in the United States, violence is celebrated, it tells you that as a society, we have a long way to go. And we sort of become inured to violence because it's just relentless, it's constant. So you're never really allowed to take a break and think about what just happened.